Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to be here today. So I'm here to talk about how to build your dental empire. I'm an attorney. I know a dental attorney, it's kind of weird, but I love it. And I mainly deal with or mainly represent buyers who are buying their first time practice. Sometimes they're doing a startup, and inevitably they get very, very nervous. Makes sense, it's a huge undertaking. They're starting a business, something that dental school definitely does not prepare them for. And I often have to give them pep talks, like, you can do this, it's okay. Generations of dentists have been doing this for a very long time. They've owned practices. And one of my favorite things to tell them is a quote by probably one of my most favorite people in the world, Mark LeBlanc. Don't worry, I got him to sign a waiver and I'm paying him royalties. But it's success is doing the basics well most of the time. And the reason why I tell them that and the reason why I love this quote is because it sets the bar pretty low. Dentists are overachievers. I should know, my parents are dentists. They taught me to be an overachiever. I'm a lawyer, I went to law school, a ridiculous amount of schooling, a lot of money. And so they kind of get it in their head that, oh my gosh, if I own a practice, I have to have this amazing marketing plan, I have to have a website, I have to have the best location, the best equipment, and they get really caught up in all the over stuff, the extra stuff that they have to do. And I try to bring them down a little bit, and I say, listen, no. Start with the basics. Start with this low level, down here, try to do those well most of the time, and you'll be successful. If you want to do more, cool, focus on that later, but let's just start with the basics. And inevitably that, okay, I can do that, it kind of settles them down a little bit more. And then they say, well, what's the basics? And I would say the first thing is show up. Basic enough, literally just show up. The only times I've ever really seen a practice fail or even start to fail is when the doctor just literally didn't show up. I had one case where I was representing the buyer. We were buying a practice, and we found out the seller had called in 60 days in that one past year, which, as you know, if you ever have worked in a dental practice, calling in sick is kind of a big deal. The doctor calls in sick, you have to rearrange the patients, you have to reschedule them, but can you imagine doing that, 60 days in 1 year? And guess what? The patient still kind of came back. It started to go down, but he didn't, actually fail. He just kind of started to decline a little bit. So I use that example a lot because I say, hey, you just need to show up. That's all you really need to do. You also need to figuratively show up. Another example of a practice that I saw start to a little bit decline is when the dentist, the seller, she was selling a practice, she just didn't have it in her anymore. She didn't have the passion. She wanted to spend more time with her family, which is totally fine, but she just wasn't there. She was physically there, but not mentally there. And guess what? It declined, but she didn't fail. She didn't go bankrupt. She didn't go, down the tube. She just kind of declined a little bit. So really all you gotta do is show up. Pretty simple. You also need to build trust with your patients and your staff. And that's also simple. You just don't be deceptive. Be honest with your patients. Be honest with your staff. Be nice. You'd be surprised how being nice goes a really, really long way. And I'm from Minnesota, Minnesota nice, so we got that covered. And then the other thing I like to tell my clients is, have your team of advisors, assemble your team of advisors, because these are people that will lift you up and that will help you through this process. And there's gonna be information that you're not gonna know. You're not gonna know accounting. You're not gonna know legal stuff. But that's why you have your advisors, helping you there. They're your partners in helping you do this business. And I would say number one, hire an accountant. That's probably gonna be the person that you're gonna be with your entire career. Hire a super awesome lawyer like myself, or Olivia Wan, wherever she is. I know she's a lawyer too. I was pretty excited to meet her. And practice management consultants. You guys, kill it. And you guys just really help them, build their practice up. And that's all you gotta do. These are the basics. That's it. That's the bottom line. Now, why do you want to own a practice? Why do you want to do this basics? Why do you want to, go out there and do it? Well, there's tons of different reasons. Being an entrepreneur is pretty awesome. I know. I own my own business. I think it's fantastic. I get to make my own schedule. I get to be my own boss. My parents told me at a young age that I have to pick a career where I'm my own boss because I don't deal well with authority, and they were totally right. And it's just, there's a lot of extrinsic value to owning your own practice, but there's also the monetary value. Owning a practice is profitable. Owning a practice, the lifetime earnings of a practice owner is significantly higher than an associate. As an associate, you kind of, go along a little bit, you go up a little bit, maybe you get a few raises, but it's pretty straight line. Whereas a dental practice owner, you might start kind of close to where an associate would be because you got some student debt, you have a new practice loan, maybe you bought a practice that was kind of, need a little bit of growth. So you start here. Well, you start to grow the practice, you show up, you do the basics, then all of a sudden you're making more money, you pay that student loan off. By the way, the sidebar, I always tell my clients the fastest way to paying off your student loans is to own a practice because you make more money. So here you go, going up, oh, and then you pay off your practice loan. Oh my gosh, okay, so suddenly maybe you hire an associate, or 2, or 3, or another, hygienist, and there you are. Your lifetime earnings go from here to here, just by being a practice owner. And it's incredible, and I've seen it, and I just love it. I love when I hear those success stories from my client, and it's just the best. And like I said earlier, I give a pep talk all the time, and I let them know, hey, it's really hard to fail at a practice ownership. You really have to try to fail. And one of the best examples I can say is the default rate for practice loans is at 0.5 to lower. So of any business that you could possibly be in, practice ownership is right up there. It's one of the top because it's really, really hard to fail. And it's very profitable, like I mentioned before. And there's a huge reason why, venture capitalists and all these outside forces are investing in dentistry right now is because it's profitable. These people wouldn't invest in dentistry unless it was profitable. And you as dentists are the ones that can realize that profit if you really want to. If you want to start with the basics, if you want to just do, the bare minimum, or if you want to go a little higher, that's great too. So, and I also like to tell my clients that, or dentists in general, that this is a huge global industry, and they cannot do this without the dentist. The dentist is the center of this industry, and you are the ones that can dictate your destiny and be the captain of your destiny, and you get to choose what you want to do and how you want this industry to go in the future. And that is why I think, again, success is doing the basic well most of the time. You can do this. Thank you. It's okay.